What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Manage the Wild. I'm your host, Nick Madsen. Today, we're going to be talking about how you apply for a biologist or a wildlife position. Now, it's different in a lot of states, but from the state of Utah, the hiring seems to be roughly the same. I've been on a hiring committee for universities. They hired professors as well as program oversight positions the same way. It is the most, I'm terrible at it. That's probably why I never got very far. I suck at interviewing. I suck at filling out all the information. But the reason why we're talking about it is because I've decided to apply for a wildlife job. Let's see how it goes. So, the first step to applying for a wildlife position in at least the state of Utah that I'm most familiar with, you find the position that you want, you go through, there's a series of questions asking you about your experience level. Are you experienced with depredation? Are you experienced with working with wildlife? Are you experienced with firearms? And then you rank your level of experience. And obviously, you're going to put that you are most experienced, like you are completely comfortable with all of these, because if you rank yourself lower, you're not going to get an interview. There's so many applicants for these wildlife positions. So you go through, but then they know that you're going to say that you are excellent at everything. So you have to justify some of these questions. Like one of the questions that rank your level based upon your experiences working with public and private organizations for the management of wildlife. And you go through and you have to list out all the different organizations, what year you worked with them, and what agency you were working for. So, like when I worked in depredation and nuisance, I literally had to list out every city police department, every county sheriff's department, highway patrol, forest service, Bureau of Land Management, uh, state parks. Like I had to list all of those and then talk about the individual situations that I had on each of these. So normally in this application process, it runs through HR. HR is not who's going to interview you, but they are the ones who are putting together your applications to see if you qualify. I have never ranked well. Um, I just it's just a weird process for me talking about each individual situation. Like um, let's say rattlesnakes, whatever it is. I worked with rattlesnakes with the Ogden City Police Department, but I didn't write down the date and I don't remember the year. And so like I've always just generalized it. Well, this time I've went a lot more detailed. We'll see how it pays out. But what I find most awkward, it's really awkward, and I've seen it multiple times, and I've been involved in the process multiple times, is the actual interview itself. Now, depending on what level of position you are, depending on whether you're a biologist specialist or a technician, you may get some questions before the interview, depending on the type of applicants they're looking for. These questions will be like a written assignment, or you're going to be asked to do something. So when I was applying for the biologist position, we got questions that were giving us a scenario, and we had to make recommendations for permits, and we had to talk about all the different things. Now, when I filled my paperwork out, one of the things I forgot to put in was citability, and I forgot to put it in my paper. And then when I was talking to him, I was nervous, didn't talk about citability. And after I asked the couple of the people who were interviewing, and they said it was a horrible interview because I didn't talk about citability. So some little small detail like that can keep you from getting a job. Now, the information they gave me was very valuable, but again, I'm not very good at this process. You walk into this room, you literally, like, I knew everybody in the room when I interviewed for my job. I had worked alongside with all of these people. There are anywhere from 5 to 10 people, and they are sitting in a big long table, and you just walk to the head of that table, and They're like, here is a list of the questions we want you to answer. You have 50 minutes. Go ahead. And that is all they do. Then as you start going through the questions, you can ask them questions, but they don't necessarily respond. They're just writing the whole time you're talking. They're just writing. They'll look up at you every now and then. So you're basically just talking to no one, which you would think I would be good at because I ride around in a truck all the time by myself. But I absolutely struggle with the interview process and not being able to interact with people. So questions can range from talk about an experience where you struggled and you overcame and you learned from. Talk about how you feel or not how you feel. Talk about coyote depredation and the bounty program, and walk us through how this may benefit wildlife, or talk about turkey depredation and a turkey flies through somebody's window, or you arrive on a dairy on a Friday night and there's a herd of elk in the corrals. What do you do? And you have to walk through exactly step by step by step. Because if you leave out one step, it could be the key, because you're ranked basically 1 through 5. If you score 5 on everything, then you're obviously going to get the job. But if you score a 4 and somebody else answers better, so the scoring is so tight that it doesn't matter if you know everybody in the room, because they're going off of your ranking, not having previously worked with you. It's so different. Like in the private sector, your boss comes to you and he's like, dude, you are absolutely killing everybody else in your job. You are the top salesman. We're going to promote you. If you did that for the state, you'd have to apply with 60 other candidates for that promotion. And then you still may not get it because you didn't fully walk through the steps. So I really struggle with this, but we'll see how this whole process goes. And we'll see if I find myself back in wildlife. But the interview process for state positions is so awkward. It's like that awkward person on a date where they just don't talk, they stare at you. It's just weird. All right, you guys, have a great day. Stay wild.